Hello everyone, and welcome to the Player Review channel. In this video, we'll be comparing the past and present of Bayern Munich head-to-head, Philipp Lahm and Joshua Kimmich. We'll determine who is better and in what aspects. Additionally, we'll go over both cheap and not so cheap alternatives for these guys. As always, it's going to be interesting, so stay tuned. Let's get started. Both Germans have medium-sized in-game models. However, Kimmich stands at 177 centimeters with a 4+4 star combination, while Lahm is 7 centimeters shorter but boasts a 5-star weak foot. Regarding chemistry styles, Lahm benefits the most from Shadow and Anchor, while Kimmich can also make good use of Engine. We'll explain why later in the review. Both players have plenty of playstyles, roles, and positions, though Kimmich is slightly more interesting due to his ability to play as a central midfielder. Let's give the stage to the younger player, Kimmich. His explosive acceleration is in great shape. Interestingly, Lahm is just as solid in this regard. However, off-the-ball sprint speed is even more intriguing in this clip. Overall, it's quite decent considering the lack of the lengthy acceleration. Now let's take a look at Lahm's sprint speed under manual control. As you can see, despite his short stature and relatively short legs, he moves quite well. Overall, both players are impressive in terms of pace. Their acceleration is even more remarkable. For instance, check out this quick tackle from the German legend, or take this next clip, where Kimmich provides cover and instantly wins the ball thanks to the anticipate playstyle. But more on that later. For now, let's evaluate Kimmich's acceleration, which is, once again, on par with Philipp Lahm. Both cards possess the golden anticipate playstyle, which probably doesn't need an introduction. Everyone knows how effective it is. However, Kimmich is far more aggressive. This is evident not only in his in-game stats, but also in actual gameplay. That being said, his physical model is still medium, so it's best to charge directly at the opponent rather than attempting shoulder-to-shoulder battles. As you might expect, Lahm, being even smaller, struggles even more in shoulder-to-shoulder challenges. With him, you need to play more carefully, relying on reading the opponent rather than brute force. If we examine these clips, we'll see classic jockey tackles but no sign of aggression whatsoever. Due to his weak physicality, Lahm often sees the ball bounce away upon tackling, despite the anticipate playstyle. This means that he struggles to retain possession while simultaneously pushing off opponents, making him more vulnerable to being tackled back and generally less aggressive. However, it's not all bad. The anticipate playstyle still helps more often than not. The key is to avoid relying on the jockey button and manually press the tackle button. This adds at least some aggression to the animations. However, his low height and average jumping ability can't be compensated for. Once again, weak aggression makes him even worse in aerial duels. Keep that in mind. Naturally, all these factors affect his performance as a right back, but Lahm has a few tricks up his sleeve, which we'll discuss soon. For now, let's note that Kimmich performs quite well as a right back due to his larger model and the jockey playstyle, which Lahm lacks. Interestingly, both cards have the whipped pass playstyle, which is useful for this position, but while Lahm isn't ideal for right back, keeping Kimmich on the right flank is almost a waste, given his attacking potential. And that doesn't just apply to passing, but also shooting. As we know, Kimmich has the finesse shot playstyle, and of course we tested it. Check out this powerful shot from about 30 meters out, or this next strong strike, once again from outside the box. Just look at the ball's speed, and of course inside the box he has no problem beating the keeper, even with his 4-star weak foot. Next on the list, Trivela. Well, here you go. As you can see, it goes in effortlessly even without the playstyle, which isn't surprising. Lahm, on the other hand, lacks the finesse shot playstyle, but as you might expect, his Trivela is just as solid. You just need to time it right. Now, about those tricks we mentioned earlier. First, his defensive reading is just as good as Kimmich's, making interceptions frequent. Second, the lack of the jockey playstyle is not as critical for a CDM. Third, Lahm boasts excellent ball control, as seen in this next clip. His superb control and reactions allow him to adjust to difficult passes quickly after interceptions. Kimmich, while having similar stats, is nowhere near as agile as Lahm. That said, he's not clunky either, especially with the engine chemistry style mentioned earlier. Still, Lahm has an incredibly responsive left stick, reminiscent of Sawa. The best part is that you don't even need to hold L1 for optimal close control. This responsiveness allows for easy maneuvering between opponents and smooth ball progression. Additionally, his press-proven playstyle helps a lot, especially for smaller models. He rarely falls after collisions. While he can be pushed off the ball, he rarely ends up face down on the ground. Moreover, smaller models are easier to foul against, which sometimes comes in handy in midfield battles against players like Vieira. Now, on to passing. As expected, his golden long ball pass is flawless, soft when needed, fast when required, and equally effective with both feet, thanks to his 5-star weak foot. Kimmich's long pass is a bit slower, though just as accurate. That said, his long passes tend to get deflected more often, even at medium distances, making incisive passes the better choice. Again, why go for a long when you can execute a luxurious incisive ball to switch flanks instead? More importantly, you should always use the incisive pass playstyle. You don't necessarily need a runner. You can use it instead of a pinged pass, provided your attacker has at least silver first touch. Lahm's lack of the incisive pass playstyle sometimes causes problems, leading to unnecessary giveaways in simple situations. On the other hand, he does have the pinged pass playstyle, which works decently even for one-touch passes, as seen in these clips. However, if you look closely, the ball bounces slightly on the pitch. This happens due to the lack of tiki-taka. For instance, check out this one-touch pinged pass. It completely misses the target. Kimmich, in contrast, lacks the pinged pass playstyle but has tiki-taka. Now observe this clean one-touch pass. Sometimes tiki-taka is more crucial. For example, pay attention to this first touch turn pass. These little details sometimes make all the difference. As you know, in EAFC 25, the rewards for the Weekend League are awesome, which means that the game has become much harder to play. Our boosters will help you to get the best rewards. Write in, because the number of spots is limited. And don't forget that we also sell coins at a cheap price. All links in the description. To sum up, both cards are genuinely enjoyable, and we don't feel like removing them from our squad anytime soon. But as they say, no one knows what tomorrow holds and what interesting new cards will drop in SBCs or as untradables in packs. Objectively, Kimmich is the better card in every aspect. However, Lahm is significantly cheaper and noticeably more agile, which might be an even bigger deciding factor than price for some players. If you still have SBC Kimmich in your squad, you definitely don't need this new version, but pairing him with Lahm is a solid option. In fact, you've probably already done that before even watching this review. Honestly, despite Kimmich's clear advantages, we don't really see a reason to recommend buying his card, unless you need it for chemistry links. You can just complete Lahm and use someone like Trent instead. While Trent may not be as defensively solid as Kimmich, he's much cheaper and equally brilliant in terms of passing. Plus, he has 5+5. By the way, our Trent review has been on the channel for a while, but to reiterate, Kimmich is superior to Lahm in every way except left stick dribbling. Then again, there's the price factor. As you remember, both Lahm and Kimmich can be used as right backs, but we still wouldn't recommend it. If you need an attacking right back, just do Lucas Vazquez for pennies. Yes, Lahm is decent at RB, but he seriously lacks jockey, even with his small model and decent agility. Another option is Ben White. If you don't need an attacking fullback, he's better in defensive duels and moves well on the left stick. Going back to the midfield, we can't ignore the legendary Pirlo, who keeps popping up in our reviews. You definitely shouldn't replace him with Lahm, but they would form a fantastic duo. Pirlo can be the deep-lying playmaker in build-up, while Lahm focuses on holding midfielder duties. This setup works well in a 4-2-1-3 and beyond. As for the CDM role, Kante is still better than both Kimmich and Lahm, especially Lahm, but of course, he lacks Gold's passing playstyles. For a solid and budget-friendly alternative, consider Pascal Gross. If you don't have Kimmich but completed Lahm and need a partner for him, Gross is a great choice. He's not exactly meta, but he's still a very capable deep-lying playmaker. At the end of the day, Lahm is dirt cheap, so there's no reason to worry if he doesn't fit your playstyle. Yes, he's far from perfect, and his price reflects that, but for some, he could be a fantastic CDM or even a right back. After all, you likely have Theo Hernandez or some version of Mendy at left back, while right back options tend to be more limited. If you've already completed Lahm or packed Kimmich, make sure to share your thoughts in the comments. And if you have any questions, don't hesitate to drop them below. We'll try to respond quickly. Also, don't forget to subscribe so you don't miss future in-depth reviews. Final ratings: Philipp Lahm, 8.5 out of 10 for card quality, 10 out of 10 for SBC value. Joshua Kimmich, 9 out of 10 for card quality. And we remind you that detailed ratings will be available in our Twitter tomorrow. Thanks for watching and see you in the next video.